A house cat nurses abandoned lion cubs. 2 years later, what happened astonished the entire world. Caretaker Helena Duarte discovered three lion cubs, barely 3 weeks old, huddled in the corner of their enclosure. Their tiny bodies were shivering, weak and cold. For days, the team at the Serra Azul Wildlife Refuge had been watching, hoping the inexperienced lioness would eventually care for her first litter. But that morning it became painfully clear. She had rejected them completely. With the cubs' survival hanging by a thread, the refuge director made a difficult decision. They would be removed for intensive hand-rearing. They won't survive the night without constant warmth and regular feeding, warned Dr. Augusto Ferreira, the facility's veterinarian, while examining the weakest cub whose eyes were still closed. Helena, deeply concerned, held the frailest one against her chest. "I'll take them home. I have an incubator. I can set up a space for them." But there was something Helena did not mention. Living in her house was Luna, a 3-year-old calico cat with golden eyes, who had developed unusual maternal instincts. Helena had rescued Luna from a storm drain years earlier, and ever since, the cat had shown an uncanny ability to care for orphaned or injured creatures, baby squirrels, injured birds, even a fox kit the previous spring. That first night, as Helena prepared the cub's formula, she noticed Luna perched on top of the incubator, staring intently at the tiny lions inside. Gently, Helena pushed her away. "Not this time, old girl. These babies need very specialized care." But Luna did not give up. The next morning, exhausted from feeding the cubs every 2 hours, Helena awoke to an unusual sound. A deep, steady purr, unlike Luna's usual tone. When she opened her eyes, she was stunned. Luna had somehow managed to climb into the incubator and was curled around the lion cubs, licking the smallest one, while all three nursed contentedly. Helena's first instinct was to separate them immediately. A domestic cat nursing lions was unheard of. But then she noticed the cubs, lethargic and cold the night before, were now warm, active, and feeding with energy, even the weakest one. When Dr. Augusto arrived half an hour later, his caution turned to amazement. "In 20 years of practice, I've never witnessed anything like this. Their temperatures are stable, and the smallest one is showing remarkable improvement." After long discussions, the team decided to allow Luna to continue caring for the lion cubs under veterinary supervision. What was meant to be temporary quickly became something much greater. News of the extraordinary bond spread through the nearby town of Vale Verde. Soon, reporters arrived to cover the story of the domestic cat-raising lions. Donations began pouring in, allowing the struggling refuge to hire new staff and improve its facilities. But what no one expected was the depth of the connection that formed. Luna didn't just feed the cubs, she raised them. She taught them how to groom, how to play without harming each other, and even how to interpret different sounds of warning and reassurance. "She's not just looking after them," Helena once said softly. "She's teaching them how to be cats in her own way." 6 months passed. The fragile newborns had become strong, lively cubs, Kai, Amira, and Leo. Though they grew rapidly, they continued to obey their tiny calico mother, who disciplined them with gentle taps of her paw whenever they played too rough. Researchers from major universities traveled to Serra Azul to study the phenomenon. Physically, the cubs developed like normal lions, but behaviorally, they displayed traits more typical of domestic cats. Meowing for attention, kneading when content, and even a love of climbing, unusual for lions. Despite their growing size, they remained surprisingly gentle with humans, and most of all, with Luna. Once during rough play, Kai accidentally scratched Helena. Immediately, Luna hissed at him, and the young lion stopped in his tracks, lowering his head. Moments later, he licked Helena's hand apologetically, a reaction never seen in wild lions. As their first birthday approached, a serious question arose. Should they be separated from Luna to begin a more natural lion upbringing, or remain with her? The debate was intense until zoologist Dr. Renata Suarez proposed a compromise: specialized enclosures where the lions could develop wild behaviors but still maintain contact with Luna. The system worked. The cubs began to stalk and hunt artificial prey, moving as a coordinated unit, while still retaining the gentleness instilled by their adoptive mother. Then came an unexpected opportunity. The Maputo Ecological Reserve in South Africa offered vast space for the lions to grow up in a natural habitat. But under one unprecedented condition, Helena and Luna would accompany them for the transition. The journey was long and stressful, especially for little Luna, who had never traveled far from home. But upon arrival, the lions quickly adjusted to the sounds and scents of the savannah, always returning to Luna at the end of the day. The most remarkable moment came when they first encountered other lions. In a carefully controlled introduction, Kai, Amira, and Leo approached cautiously. The wild lions responded with typical territorial growls. But instead of escalating, the three sat calmly. Then Amira did something extraordinary. She chirped, a soft vocalization she had learned from Luna, not from lions. She began grooming her brother in full view of the others, signaling peace through a universal feline language. Over the following months, the lions integrated successfully with the pride, yet they never abandoned Luna. At times, even wild-born lions seemed to watch the little calico cat with curiosity, refraining from aggression. Today, visitors to Maputo Reserve sometimes witness an astonishing sight. Three powerful young lions patrolling their territory, trailed by a small calico cat walking confidently among them, like the true matriarch. Researchers believe these lions, nurtured by a domestic cat, are even influencing wild prides, introducing more cooperative behaviors. As Helena watched her unusual family from a distance, she reflected, "In the end, we learned that love can cross every boundary, even those written in biology."